Hope is truth. That's how it all began. Statement of poetic passion. Promise of a new homeland for life. For everyone equally. In the way that God intended. That all would be free. But oh, there's liberty. You know the cost is dear. So many caught in the gun sights, filled with pride and fear. The guilty is true, when everything else was gone. Gave their lives in sacred honor for us to stand upon. Let freedom reign, but it ain't free. There must be hunger for responsibility. Christ was there for you and me. What will we do? Who will we be? We hold these truths, each of us in our own way. The frontier is inside us now. And in a peace, for this we pray to life. The everlasting mystery. May we never lose our courage. May our hearts and minds stay free. Will is liberty. You know the cost is dear. In this time of great confusion, filled with pride and fear, we'll hold these truths when everything else is gone. Give our lives in sacred honor for our children to stand on. Let freedom reign, but it ain't free. There must be hunger for responsibility. The price was paid for you and me. What will we do? Who will we be? The price was paid for you and me. What will we do? Who will we be? Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Barry Ebert, an original song, right, from you, beautiful, along with our wonderful band. We are so blessed this morning, and I'm suspecting that due to the events of the past week that we've experienced here in our country, that song may be just exactly what your soul and my soul is craving and feeling the wonderful effects of. So I'm so grateful that we started out with that beautiful, beautiful song. And we welcome you this morning to Mile High Church. Thank you for tuning in with us. Our community is a community dedicated to deep spiritual awakening for ourselves and for all of humanity. And so we come together each week, all of us, coming from various walks of life, various faith traditions, various ways that we live our life out, express ourselves. And the thing that I love most about this community is that we're all welcome. Whatever that looks like for us, we're all welcome. And so it's a community of inclusivity and love. And we come together in that desire to awaken for the purpose of deepening our understanding of ourselves and our spiritual nature and our world together. So we're going to do that today as we do every week, and we're so grateful you're here. And I want to remind us all of our vision and mission. I really love anchoring myself in that vision and mission as I participate in the life of our community, and invite you to do the same with me this morning by either reading it aloud or just noticing it as we speak it aloud. And so I'm going to say our vision and mission right now. Our vision: oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission is to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. There's a slide right there telling me it, and I tripped over my words, but that happens every once in a while. And so our vision and mission is definitely a powerful thing that I think tells us who we are and what we're here to do together. And so we welcome you into that this morning. We also welcome you into your heart. We welcome you into the the depth of your spiritual beingness. And part of how we're going to do that now is through song and prayer. And so Dr. Barry's going to sing a beautiful song that we love, and we believe definitely in the power of this song. So many people say this song is the anchor point for them in our service. So lots of music for that, and then he's going to pray us in. So let's do that now.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the praise. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. So in this moment, we fall into our hearts. We do acknowledge that the presence of the living Spirit is right here where we are, surrounding us, within each of us. There is a power, there is a wisdom, there is a love that holds us in its hands right now. So we surrender to that love. We open to it, allow it to have its way with us. From that place of connection, we reach out and support and love to all those who may be suffering this day. Maybe dealing with the effects of this virus, all those who have lost loved ones, all those who have stepped over into the greater dimensions of life. We acknowledge that power that is alive, that carries us, supports us now. We pray this day for this beautiful country of ours, for all of our leaders in this time. May we let our hearts lead us. May we indeed hold the truths upon which this country was founded. May that we know that we are indeed one country under God. We walk on sacred ground. I give thanks for this opportunity this morning for us to gather together in this way. Bless our community. Bless Dr. Michelle as she shares her message with us today and as we dive deeper into our teaching. I know that we are blessed, and I acknowledge in this moment that life is indeed holy. We are part of something beautiful, and we are indeed in this together. And so it is. When I was a boy each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Why the water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, barely wet my fingertips. Now I gotta hold my breath, like I'm swimming in a sea of death. There used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate hand me down. But I walk it with a reverend day, 'cause everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face. See, it's not a testament. Can be very hard to say. See another new morning come. See, it's not a sacrament. Tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird, shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven second rate hand me down. But I walk it with a reverend, 'cause everything's holy.
In honor of our Back to Basics series this month, our readings come from our founder, Ernest Holmes. You belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, this original flow of life. You are as much a part of it as the sun, the earth, the air. There is something in you telling you this. like a voice echoing from some mountaintop of inward vision, like a light whose origin no man has seen, like an impulse welling up from an invisible source. All things are possible to God, provided they remain true to the nature of God, and that which is untrue to the nature of God has no existence. There's no division between the big and the little. Nothing is an outcast in the kingdom of good. There's a power in us right now, if we could unshackle it, which is the same power that swings the planets in their space and holds them there.
Dr. Michelle is talking about possibility. So that's all. I remember in the days of old, doesn't seem that long ago. Time you won't be nothing unless you do something. Study medicine, study law. Please put away the guitar. The best you'll ever be is a local star at the local bar. But I went and did it anyway. Then all the way. Now I'm here today, living my dream. You can never say no. Meditate can't be anything you want to be. Don't be deceived. 'Cause anything's possible if you just believe. Then you can succeed. It might not be easy, but anything's possible. What if old been friend would have been frightened by lightning? If you would have stayed inside, then you'd still be in the dark. Martin Luther King did some beautiful things, all because he had a dream, just like you and me. I said, no, meditate can't be anything you want to be. Don't be deceived, 'cause everything's possible if you just believe. Then you can succeed. It might not be easy. Don't you know there's gonna be sweat and some tears and some hard years? You better believe me first. And some pain, expect some rain. You're gonna make it if you try. Keep your eye on the prize. 'Cause you can make it. You might have to work around strong to be worth it. Don't let them tell you that you don't deserve it. Meditate can't be anything you want to be. Don't be deceived. Everything's possible if you just believe. Then you can succeed. It might not be easy, but anything's possible. Sisters and brothers.
So true. Tom Litch, thank you so much, our wonderful music director, as well as let's give thanks to our band, Bijou and Josh and Kent and Josh again. I was going to call it Rob. Yeah, there's lots of Joshes around here, but you're the best Rob ever, so thank you. Aren't they wonderful? And yes, we are. That is a perfect song for today's message because we are definitely exploring possibilities. Our wonderful tradition each year at this time is to go back to basics. So we create a series, it's a 4-week series where we go back to the basics of our teaching in a wonderful attempt to remind ourselves, for those of us who've been around a while, to remember the basic ideas that we teach here at Mile High Church, that we teach in Science, Mind, and Spirit. And we come up with a way to articulate those basics for reminding us and uplifting us, and for those who are exploring and still new to our community, to help them have a better understanding of the basic ideas that we teach. And so this year our series is called Evolved Spirituality, which I think is beautiful because our spirituality, we believe, is ever evolving. We always are having an opportunity to deepen our understanding of the nature of the universe, our cosmology, the nature of spirit, that it should be an evolutionary journey, that it should be something that grows and deepens and shifts and changes as we do. Because this universe is big and vast, expansive, and infinite quantity of beingness. And so getting stuck is not helpful to us. Getting stopped and being rigid is not necessarily as helpful to our spiritual nature, to our eternal nature. So I love that topic. And then we started out last week, and Josh gave an amazing message to start us off for the year that encapsulated this whole series and got us to a great start about listening to the heart of the divine. And this week, our topic is all about it's called Inspired Introspection, Becoming Your Possibilities. Inspired Introspection, Becoming Your Possibilities. Those are two great concepts to bring together in a talk. And I've been working on it for a few weeks, knowing that this was what I was going to be presenting. And then I have to admit, as I was honored to get to speak here Wednesday night, after all of the events that happened in our country's capital that day, it was quite a challenging experience to step onto this platform and have a message and have all that energy still in the space as it is today for me personally, as I'm sure it is for many of us. I suspect a lot of us have tuned in today in hopes of some wisdom to help us to understand and to have a better perception, to feel a greater sense of peace and well-being about what's been going on in our country this past week, and to create a greater sense of comfort. That's a huge part of what spiritual community has been for me all these years, and what church has been, and what this teaching has been. And so I hope that everything that we're doing here today in our music and message and prayers is helpful. And I feel many times like I keep seeing that image of Pigpen from Charlie Brown, that little guy who always had this dust cloud around him, that when things get really difficult in my personal life or in the life we share together, as they have been now for the past year, I find that normally I'm a pretty clear-headed girl. I stay pretty clear-headed, but in times like this where it gets so discombobulating, that's a very spiritual word, by the way, discombobulation. I'm surprised Ernest Holmes didn't have it in the glossary of the Science Mind textbook, but it's a big, important word, that cloudiness impacts me at an emotional level, at a spiritual level. It impacts me as I go to present a message or to teach a class or to have a conversation. It impacts me as I'm looking at television or I'm on the internet or on social media. It's such an impact for so many of us, everything that's been going on. And when there's a fresh new incidents like we've experienced recently, it can be very discombobulating. And so I feel as I'm speaking today, I can feel that cloud, and I've been praying a lot for that cloud to part and for there to be continued clarity, and for today's service to absolutely stand in the message of our basics that we wanted to stand in, while at the same time providing comfort and upliftment and inspiration for myself and all who hear it. That's my intention today, to help us to clear away that cloud a little bit, or at the very least be in the midst of it and be at peace as we unpack it and try to figure it out together and continue to walk forward. And I say that word together very clearly because all of us are a part of what's next and creating a new reality and creating the evolutionary call that life is having for us. I truly believe that all that we've been going through and all that's been happening even recently is all about a call to humanity to evolve, to continue to step forward and create ways that we can walk forward together that serve all. Our Centers for Spiritual Living has a big vision, a world that works for everyone. And it seems impossible at times. But here I am today about to give a talk about becoming our possibilities. And so while I don't know how it's possible that we could create a world for everyone, got my own ideas here and there, as we all do, and I don't know how it's possible that this evolutionary journey can help us to make the necessary shifts and evolve the way we need to evolve in. I believe in it. I believe in the possibility of America and of us and of human beings. I believe in the good that we are. I believe in our ability to transcend the most challenging issues that we ever face. So I'm a possibility believer. I'm a possibility believer. And so I guess it is kind of perfect that I have this topic today and get to talk about this. And so I want to do justice to it and keep balance and looked a lot in the face of what is going on to the two words in our title, inspired introspection, to inspire me, to help me. How do I take what's happening in the world and my own feelings and thoughts about it, my own concerns, and experience inspired introspection? So I broke it down a little bit. And I know that sometimes speakers rely way too heavily upon the dictionary. And so I don't do that a lot. But this time, today, I decided to do that. I went to the dictionary and I looked up those two words in order to bring them together. And so I've heard inspired. Some people say that the origin of inspire is Greek and it means of God. And I didn't find in my research that pointed definition necessarily, but in the dictionary, I found a definition that said of extraordinary quality as if arising from some external creative impulse. Now, I like that definition, except that I would add to it that the impulse, the creative impulse, can arise from an external experience or an internal experience. Because I certainly have experienced inspiration by seeing something or someone out there, hearing something or someone that out there. At the same time, I've experienced incredible inspiration right from within my own self, from an aspect of myself that is wisdom or that is a love or that is dedicated to the highest aspirations of my being. And so inspiration, I believe, can happen through an extraordinary moment, an extraordinary quality. Introspection is defined as the examination of one's own mental and emotional processes. And I think that is so fitting for what we do here in our spiritual community. That we are all about teaching people to be inspired introspection. Indeed, one of the first things that appealed to me when I first came to Mile High Church was this notion that was told to me in messages and eventually in classes that we never teach people what to think. And that I find can be so freeing. We teach people how to think. But I know that when we're hungry for understanding and solutions, we wish that people would just teach us what to think, tell us what to think. And in some environments, that's actually more comforting to us. Just tell me what should I be thinking about this? How should I be approaching this? And I understand that. But in terms of the big picture of life, one of the great things about this community and our teaching is that we don't spend a lot of time telling people what to think because we believe that everyone has a right to freely think what they want to think. But we teach people through inspired introspection to consider how they might be thinking about things and to understand that how we think about things is absolutely influenced by our past, what we've thought before. It's influenced by our unhealed past, where we still have a little pain or a lot of pain, or we've suffered, or we've been betrayed, or we've lost trust, or we've lost faith. And that when we're in that space, our introspection is influenced by that, or we're afraid, or we think we should be afraid, or we're not sure if we should be afraid. All of that becomes a part of our introspection. And so we really lean into helping people to find and to see that. We don't be in denial about that or just pretend that's not happening, but to be with that and in that and out of that, then begin to shift ourselves through the things that we learn here so that we can be more inspired. Inspired introspection is so much of why we do what we do. The invitation into it comes here in our services on Sunday mornings, through everything we do. It comes through our classes and workshops and the things that we offer people so that people can experience greater inspired introspection. I'm so happy that we have landed on a wonderful compassionate communication class with Reverend Simon Shadowlight that's coming up on the 19th. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to lean into compassionate communication for and around ourselves, self-empathy, the invitation to empathize with ourselves so powerfully. And I'm so excited that we're offering our Beyond Limits class. Our Beyond Limits class is a great opportunity to really learn the basics and have constant inspired introspection for 8 weeks of personal work, also starting on the 19th. And we're offering that on a love offering because we want to invite anyone into that. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is why we're constantly inviting people into these things so that we can have that kind of deepened understanding about not only these teachings, but how to live out these teachings in our world. And what I know in my life is that inspiration and this kind of introspection is fed by intellectual information. So in our classes and workshops, often there are things to read and things to understand. But the truest inspiration comes from a deeper experience, an embodiment of some new idea, some new possibility. It comes in a flash. It comes in a moment. It comes in a feeling. It comes in a creative impulse from the outer world or the inner world. That's what inspiration is like. And so our classes and workshops and activities invite us into that, as do so many things on our planet, if we will allow them to do that. Recently, as the year was shifting over, there was a lot of talk, as there always is at the end of the year, about resolutions. What am I resolving to do in 2021? Or what am I resolving to be in 2021? And a number of people asked me point blank, well, what do you have? What's your resolution? Do you have a resolution? There are conversations about what's my word for this year, or what are my words for this year? And I find that always very fascinating. But this year, as I was asked that question, approaching going from 2020 into 2021, I found myself kind of blank. Because like a lot of people pointed out in many environments, just the changing of the calendar doesn't necessarily mean that the events that have been going on shift dramatically. There's large hope and desire for them to, and for this year to be a much better year than last year was. But we have to do our part to make that so. And so I was asking myself, well, what's my part? What I want to stand in, or what do I want to have be a focus for me? And I just sort of asked myself the question and stayed with it a little bit and looked around at what other people were doing. I got to do some vision boarding and got to bring out some great qualities for myself and some images. But there was this moment that came while I was on Facebook one day, just scrolling through memes. And I came across this meme, and it was a picture, I believe, if I remember correctly, of a woman who was facing away from the camera in a beautiful environment, and it had a question on it. And the question is, what if the only resolution you make is to love yourself more? Well, it hit me in the gut, like, oh my gosh. And it stayed with me through the changing over into the new year. And it has stayed with me as, I would say, inspired introspection. I felt inspired immediately by that flash and that feeling in my body and my beingness. And I began to look at my life through the lens of that potential resolution. Began to look at my past, look at the places that still remain a part of my unhealed past that I'm wanting to continue to heal and to massage forward into greater functionality of my life, my perceptions of myself and the ways that I've been, the mistakes I think I've made, the things I wish I would have done differently, the things I wish were differently. I began to look at my life currently, my own personal experience of myself and my relationships, and I began to look at the things that I'm wanting to bring forward into my future, the possibilities that I can feel within me that are seeking expression. And through the lens of that question, what if my one resolution was just to love myself? I'm getting great insight about that. Now, at first glance, this may seem like an extremely selfish resolution. Like I'm just focused on me, I'm just going to love myself and that's it. But here's what I've noticed about myself and other people. The more that I am committed to being this love of myself and living my life out in the span and space of that kind of love, the wiser I am, the kinder I am, the clearer I am, the more compassionate I am towards other people. And this would be in absolute alignment with our teaching, where we believe that everything is the divine in expression. And therefore, as I love myself, as I am committed to being kind and compassionate towards myself, my ability to do that with all other beings grows and expands. At the end of his talk last week, Reverend Josh talked about the willingness to give up judging and criticizing ourselves and others. Well, in the space of loving myself, I have a huge shift in my willingness or ability to judge myself or to criticize myself and others. So this became a powerful, powerful idea for me. And so what I've been noticing in this dance of inspired introspection is that in our teaching, we help people to experience and allow inspiration that then allows deeper introspection, which opens us to greater possibilities. And through introspection, we can be inspired, which also opens us up to greater possibilities. But the whole notion is the understanding and the belief, the passionate, fervent belief that all beings everywhere have great possibility within them. Possibilities for their life and for the life we share. And that as we are inspired and as we look at ourselves, as we are willing to do the personal growth work that allows us to let go of the clouds of things that no longer serve us, those possibilities can emerge for us. So what are our possibilities and how can they emerge? One of the things that I know I began to wonder as I encountered this teaching, as I heard teachers before me look me in the eye and say, you have great possibility within you. I wondered, well, where did those possibilities come from? How is it that possibility gets nurtured in our soul, in our essence? And I wondered, is it God's will? We have a lot of conversation in our initial classes about God's will and letting go of some notion that there's some being out there whose will must be done through us and who's saying, okay, my will for Michelle Medrano is X, Y, and Z, and she better do those things or she's, made a mistake or hasn't done it right. We don't necessarily believe in that. Is it destiny? Am I destined to express the possibilities that are within me? Is that what it is? And so I'm not sure, as I've pondered it these many years, if our higher self, our essence, our soul, our infinite self comes into this world with our possibilities fully anchored into us or not. That's something Again, where we don't teach you what to think, we teach you how to think. You get to decide for yourself. We let ourselves kind of come to those conclusions. All I can say is that I know that great possibility exists within each one of us. But we don't believe in destiny. We don't believe that we're destined. We don't believe that individuals are destined to do certain things, or that America, the great country of America, is destined to do this or that, or that people are destined for this or for that. Ernest Holmes didn't believe that either, our wonderful founder. He said in The Science of Mind, thought becomes subjectified in mind like a seed planted in the soil, and unless neutralized, it stays there and determines the attraction and repulsion in the experience of the one thinking. There is constant action on the subjective side of life, and it is the unconscious process which decides what is going to happen in the outer experience. Whatever we think, act, believe in, feel, visualize, vision, image, read, and talk about. In fact, all processes which affect or impress us at all are going into the subjective state of our thought, which is our individualized use of universal mind. Whatever goes into the subjective state of our thought tends to return again as some condition. So we, and we alone, control our destiny. We, and we alone, control our destiny. So we believe that we are in co-creation with this divine presence within us. So using introspection, I think that we all can find our way into our possibilities, the possible ways in which we can move forward in this life. And I know that this can be challenging because we see, for example, children who are born into this world with great possibility already in them. Prodigy children, children who have great potentiality that shows up early. And what I've noticed is that all human beings, as I've said today, have inherent gifts and talents and abilities that they did not consciously go out and necessarily procure. They're just on board, if you will. They're just coded in their DNA. They're coded into their essence somehow. I don't know how that happens, but I know it's there. At the same time, I think that the point that we get to remember is that no matter what great possibilities have been born within someone, everyone has the choice to say yes or no to those possibilities, to bring them forth, to hide them under a bushel, to share them, not to share them, to express them, not to express them. Now, I can also acknowledge that humans tend to be unhappy to the degree that they don't express themselves fully, their possibilities fully, and yet making a conscious choice to surrender and to say, no, I'm not going to express that possibility this lifetime, can be just as fulfilling and satisfying. And so we all get to choose, no matter whether we come here with some great gift or some great ability or some great possibility that emerges in us. The point, though, from me is that each one of us gets to nurture through inspired introspection those possibilities and then choose whether to express them or not. To feel into, will my expressing this serve me and serve the world, or do I not feel called to express it? We have choice in this regard. Ernest Holmes says to us, we awaken to existing principles, which we may use uniquely, and in so doing, produce a new thing. But the new thing is made out of that which has always been, and by method which was always possible. This demonstrates not a new possibility, but a new form resulting from a new awareness. Now that may sound a little bit like gobbledygook. Sometimes Ernest Holmes is really clear and concise and you just get it. And sometimes it's like, what? But I think in this quote, he's saying to us, look, all possibility exists in that invisible form. It's already there. all the possibilities for the life we want to lead, for the way we want to lead it, for the possible ways that we could be a contribution and a beneficial presence. And we have to find our way through inspired introspection back into those possibilities to express them fully. And therefore, my key point today is to take a play on the word impossible and rather say, I'm possible. I'm possible. That each one of us can proclaim that for ourselves. I'm possible. As I contemplate the possibilities that seek emergence through me, I have an opportunity to share them and to be them. And yes, they can be challenging, they can be big, they can be small, they can be flashes of great inspiration. It's a huge possible thing for me to say, what if I live the rest of my life resolved to loving myself? Who would I be? What could that mean? How would I live? It brings forth great possible choices for me every day of my life. I have a metaphor for this that I'd like to share for being possible and the possibilities that seek to emerge. I don't mean this metaphor to seem trivial given the conditions we're in, either individually or collectively, because the game of life is a serious game, but that's what I want to look at. I had this vision while I was meditating recently of the games that we play in life. And I'm talking about literally the games. Now, granted, this may have been a metaphor that was inspired deeply by my binge watching The Queen's Gambit recently, all in like one day, maybe one day. And my husband's over there, so I'm asking him. It was a couple days, 2 days. The Queen's Gambit, who was this story about this child prodigy who found that she had this propensity for being an amazing chess player, and she could lay down at night and see the chessboard on the ceiling and see all the pieces going. And so it really inspired me, this whole story, this whole show. And there were a whole other bunch of nuances. But in this metaphor, what I see is that I suspect that most of us are here today watching Mile High Church and participating in a community like this because we seek to activate the greater possibilities that are seeking expression through us. And so this is just one metaphor for that. That there are different games that we play in life, and it may be anything from Go Fish to Monopoly to chess. It could be any of those games, and we get to pick the games we play, don't we? No one in life says, well, you can't live a good life unless you play Monopoly every day, or you have to play Go Fish every day in order to be a fully realized human being. No, we each have a plethora of games to choose from. And when we sit down to play a game, whether it's solitaire on our own, or it's a game with one person or a whole group of people, we know that part of the game that we're going to play is going to include a need for us to strategize to some extent, to play as best as we can, that sometimes we're going to win and sometimes we're going to lose, that sometimes we're going to hit huge obstacles and play the game and have to throw our cards off or down or step away from the table or stop playing the game altogether. We know that all of these possibilities are going to be in the act of actually playing the game, but we still feel called to play the game. And we still feel the possibility of enjoying the journey, of meeting the challenges, of learning the strategy, and of understanding that every time we play, we have an opportunity to get a little bit better, to be a little bit more competent, to be a little more inspired. And every time we play, we literally get inspiration for the next time I play that game, I'm going to try that. The next time I play that, I'm going to do that. And I suspect and suggest to us today that a huge part of what this game of living possibilities is all about is understanding that we are not predetermined, predestined to play certain games, that we have the choice and the freedom in this universe to choose the possibilities we want to lean into, and that we will experience challenges. We will have to have times when it works out and when it doesn't, but the whole goal is to be in the game, to experience the game, and to choose your game. Some of us will choose relationship games. Some of us will choose career games. Some of us will choose the game of spirituality. Some of us will choose money games and health games. There's so many games that we can choose from, just like there are in life when we look at the games that are produced for us to play. And some of us will play a number of those games simultaneously that will include them bringing forth the great possibilities, and it will require of us a willingness to play awake, to play from inspiration, to be introspective about how I'm playing this part of my game, my possibility that's emerging through me, and how am I showing up for it? But it's all worth it. It's all completely worth it for us because it's about the journey of full expression. So in this game, in this week, I don't have a lot for us to consider doing in order to bring forth inspired introspection and to become our possibilities. I'm asking today for us to consider these ideas that inspired introspection can go on all the time as we allow it, and that we begin to look at the possibilities that are expressing through each one of us, seeking expression through each one of us, and begin to be conscious of them, present to them. I've asked myself recently, in the space of that resolution to love myself, if I were to live every day of my life from the perspective of my highest self, who would I be? How would I be with the possibilities that seek expression through me? What would I do? How would I move forward? How would I play the game of life myself? And I ask us to do that. Joseph Strauss says, our world of today revolves completely around things which at one time couldn't be done because they were supposedly beyond the limits of human endeavor. Don't be afraid to dream. Let's not be afraid to dream today of great possibilities for ourselves, for our country, for our world, to have faith, to discern through inspired introspection, to feel the call and step forward, to have great faith in ourselves and others. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20, we are told, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible to you. Let us activate our possibilities. Please join me in a moment of prayer. We step into this space now, breathing into life and feeling that inspiration, and allow ourselves to contemplate that which life is seeking to express through each one of us. Claiming and knowing together that this is how God works. God, the infinite love of the universe, allows us to express and be anything and all that we choose to be. And the possibilities are endless. The dreams are bountiful. And in this great love that this divine presence is, we are given the freedom to choose, the freedom to allow, the freedom to express ourselves fully and completely. And it is as we express that we utilize the great law of the universe to manifest this good, to turn towards our possibilities, to say yes to them, and to allow them to be expressed through us. Every moment is holy. Every moment is sacred. Every turn, every decision, every thought, every bit of energy, as Holmes tells us, moves us forward in the direction of our dreams or in the direction of where it is that we want to see ourselves fully expressed. And so we joyfully surrender into that now. And I accept and affirm that we can and do experience great inspiration this day and every day to move forward in those directions, that there are sources all around us, the world of inspiration, the world of spiritual community, the world of great possibilities that whispers quietly in each one of our ears, urging us forward, because life awaits upon each one of us to say yes to our deepest, greatest possibilities and to express them fully. So I stand as witness to that truth, emerging and expressing through each one of us now. I accept that it is done. I accept that it is so, and I'm so grateful for all that life is as each of us. And I surrender this word now into the action of that universal law, letting it be, letting it go. And so it is.
This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird, shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything's holy now. There used to be a world half there, living second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with the ribbon, 'cause everything's holy now.
Everything is holy now. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to be with us today. And we invite you to consider the possibility of circulating your good through tithes and offerings to continue to resource and be a resource for this wonderful, beloved community that serves so many in the world. And so, in that invitation, we recognize that the moment that we choose to say yes to giving and sharing of anything, it increases our mental equivalent of abundance and our abundant nature, and it opens our heart. And so, it's one of the most inspirational things to do. So, whatever it is that you might be choosing to share today, please know that you can do so through texting. If you'd like to text to give, you can text 45888, put in the word Mile High, and put the amount in you'd like to give. You can go to our website at milehighchurch.org and make a donation there. And we welcome donations through the mail. Our address is on the screen now if you'd like to send a donation that way. We thank you for any way that you choose to contribute today or any day, and we feel so blessed. So please join me as we say our affirmation together in this activity of circulation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Heart is blue. Shoes up from the stony ground. There's no room. Space to live in this town. Out of love. These are what you had in head. Traffic stuff. But you're not moving. Because you found a friend to take you out of this place. Someone you can lend and turn for grace. You want to feel like it's a beautiful place. Don't let it get away. You're on the ground. But you got your destination. You're in the world. Anyway, with your imagination, you know this town. Even if that doesn't mean true. It's been all over. And it's been all over you. It's a beautiful day. Skyfall, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So touch me, take me to that old place. You know I'm not a hopeless case. See the world moving and through. See it shine right in front of you. See the canyons burning by clouds. See the tuna fleets clearing
See the bedouin fires at night. See the oil fields at first fire. See the bird with the leaf in her mouth. And for the blood on the covers rain down. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls to see like it's a beautiful day. So touch me into that awful place. I'm not a hopeless case. What you don't have, you don't need it now. What you don't know, you can't feel now. What you don't have, you don't need it now. Don't need it now. Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Oh, thank you so much, Tom. And thank you, band. Don't we have the best band in the whole wide world? And I want to thank Dr. Michelle Medrano. Incredible, incredible message today. And I just want to remind us as we come to a close of our service that the two beautiful classes that are going to take place on January 19th, Beyond Limits, and that's offered on a love offering basis. So I was just talking to someone the other day, said, I took that a long time ago, but last year I took it again, and wow, how incredible. And also compassionate communication. Boy, aren't we standing upon that today. So I invite you into these two wonderful opportunities. And also for those of you who are requiring prayer, asking for prayer, just want to be in that essence of prayer, stay tuned to our visual prayer rooms today, and you can receive a prayer from one of our fine practitioners. And also this coming Wednesday night, wow, we're in for a great treat because we have the dynamic duo of Reverend Josh and Dr. Michelle Medrano. And so, 7 o'clock Wednesday night, don't miss it. And so right now, please join with me in just a closing prayer as we're standing within this field of essence, this field of pure potentiality. We recognize that there's nothing too big for God, and that bigness wells up and expresses through you, through me, through all of us together. And so go forward this day, into this day and the day of tomorrow, with peace, assurance, gratitude, and abundance of love. And so it is. Amen. Peace on earth and let me begin. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant